Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this, your Virgo December 2024 reading and forecast. Hi, I'm Nigel St. James, Clairvoyant. Well, this month we have a very fascinating deck full of medieval imagery. Sometimes with people having their heads chopped off or different things that people used to get about in the medieval times. But it's very good at providing the messages that will help you manage the cosmic energy to bring about emotional fulfillment and success for you. Now, you know, of course, that I do provide clairvoyant readings to people from all over the world over FaceTime and Skype. They normally go for about an hour and a half, maybe a bit longer sometimes. The details are in the description. And there's another gift which I do provide. Now, the readings I charge for. The other gift which I provide is literally a service for free. The healing is what I'm talking about. That comes through me and not from me. And I can't get anything in return for it, so there's no fee, no obligation, no strings attached, and I am to use it. And that would generally, I suppose, go for something in the order of 45 minutes, sometimes more. You know, I always set time aside each day for those, and if you feel that this calls to you, don't be embarrassed or ashamed because, or scared or shy, because plenty of people do it every day from YouTube, from all around the world. Now, there are no video advertisements breaking their way into this content, and so you get to experience the reading uninterrupted. Show me the magic. There is the Queen of Coins. There's the Four of Wands. Good for you there. There's Justice. Right in the middle of your spread. Here we have Four of Cups, Four of Wands, Four of Cups. That's something in here. And it is the King of Cups. Right, I'll bring the camera around. You and I can have a look at the really fascinating paintings on these cards, and I'll do the reading for you. Now, I don't normally do this, but I thought I'd show you the back of the cards in this deck. Normally, I find most of them pretty boring, but I like this one because it has the zodiac wheel here, the signs going around, and the quality of the painting is excellent, I think. And so I thought I'd just share that with you for those who are interested in the backs of cards. Now, let's see what there is. Quite emotional month in many respects. Why don't we start with this one then, which is Justice, by the look of it, number 8. Decisions, power, and balance. Well, not surprisingly here with these scales. Do you know I get a lot of Venus around here? And also the sign of Libra. Look at these colors on this woman. There's blue and green mainly. Blue is the color of spirit and intellectual powers, such as thinking, ideas, wisdom. And green, well, that's the color of creativity, the power to put ideas into action, having made a decision, you see. And the fact that this is all, these things are coming down here towards the earth. Your powers of thought will be directed to and put in contact with the earth, and they're going to serve you brilliantly. I think this is also a time for you to really examine yourself, examine who it is that you are, and also perhaps take some stock of your life to see what or who is useful, who is adding to your life, and what or who should be let go. Now, a message that's coming through here very strongly is for you to wake up. This life that you are living, it's not an advertisement. It's not a promo for a movie or a feature yet to come. It's happening now. And it's time for you to face up to it. You see, you can't get anywhere and you can't get over anything if you don't let yourself feel anything in the first place. Live with passion. It's time. But definitely it's the time to be considering who you really are and becoming comfortable with who you are, your shadow as well as your light side. Do you know, there are many people who might say that they don't want to spend the rest of their life with themselves. How do you explain to someone you love that you can't give yourself to them because if you did, you're not sure who you'd be giving, that you aren't sure what your own words are worth? You can't tell someone that, especially someone you love, and so you don't. Instead, you lie. Be yourself. Be comfortable with yourself. Love yourself, because when you love yourself, you become beautiful to others. And when you love yourself, it shows and the rest of the world goes, well, this person here, they must be right. But there is also here, as I've mentioned, the idea that there might be some time for you to be thinking about what needs to be cut from your life. I'll also say this, that if you spend your time hoping someone will suffer the consequences for what they did to your heart, then you're allowing them to hurt you a second time in your mind. And even though you may want to move forward in your life, you may have one foot on the brakes. In order to be free, you must learn how to let go, release the hurt, release the fear. Just don't listen to or entertain your old pain. You know, the energy that it takes to hang on to the past, that will hold you back from starting a new life. So what is it that you would let go of today? Now, there was another woman around here that I wanted to have a... Here she is, here. I want to have a look at this. That's an interesting painting, is it not? Let's have a quick look at it, shall we? Very interesting here for you. Gee, I've got to tell you that Capricorn and Sagittarius may well be of importance to you at this time. I call her the Queen of the Thrones of Earth. Now, these court cards can, of course, be of either gender, but I'll speak to it as if it's a woman for the obvious reason. This is a time when you'll be ambitious, very affectionate and kind, very charming, very attractive to other people. People are going to find you very physically attractive, so do with that what you will. But I think that you're also going to be very practical. This is very good for people who are involved in domestic duties, you know. This represents prosperity and security, is what I'm getting here for you. It's also refers to a mother type of person who guides others through their problems, I think. And it's important, even though you might be nurturing other people, that you do nurture yourself, because I think there has been something of an arid stretch that has been with you in the past, but now you've come to the oasis and it's a turning point for you. It's a time, I think, when you should be working with intuition rather than necessarily overthinking things. You will probably possess in some way all the finest of the quieter qualities, but I do think that you will, in a sort of a reticent and unassuming way, be really very lustful and sexy. You could also overindulge in recreational substances, almost as if, I'm getting it almost as if you want to get out of yourself, because that's where you find that you are happy. Now, this message that I'm coming up with here may not necessarily apply just to you, but I'm sure that you will know someone who it does. And it is this, that, do you know, women can go over it again and again in their minds, finding all kinds of deficiencies in themselves. I didn't do this right. I wasn't good enough. I didn't love him, or her, as the case may be, the way I should have. Or she came in here and outperformed me. But the fact still remains that he didn't have any business cheating. So ladies need to release themselves from the blame of a cheating man's actions. Just do that for yourself, because holding on to that baggage can be paralyzing. It can cripple you and keep you from performing in your next encounter. You simply can't drive forward if you're focused on what's happening in the rearview mirror. Now, a similar situation may well apply here, where revealing to a man that you are a keeper, it's just no guarantee that that guy won't just walk away. Some men really are just sport fishing, and they have no intention of doing anything more than throwing back the women that they have bedded. Now, if this is the case with a man in your life, then let him walk. What do you care? He's not the guy you're looking for. There's someone better out there, and someone who deserves you. Now, I saw Venus with this central energy here of that, but I still get a feeling that Venus is around here, and I think it's here. This is Venus in the third decan of Aries, which is the 10th of April to the 19th of April. But look, you might think that there's a big problem with that, actually, because Venus, of course, is, as we saw here, Venus actually rules Libra, and Libra is diametrically opposed to Aries on the zodiac wheel, and so Venus is going to be in detriment, and will find it, you might think, difficult to express itself fully. But Venus here can be a planet of great lust and enjoyment of love as well. Now, I know the traditional sense is that it's about beauty, harmony, and relationships and love, which of course it is, but it's also very earthy. It can be very earthy, passionate, and carnal. And I think here in this situation, it sits in quite well with aggressive Mars, who is the ruler of Aries. Now, the number 4 here is about foundation, completeness, progress, power, and stability here. And I believe here also the possibility of new beginnings. Now, there is the green light to success here. There's the foundation, a first stage to completion. Maybe even setting up a new home or moving home. All contradictions and opposites are coming together, and they are connecting, and the harmony between, and look, the lesbian and gay audience can make the necessary adjustment, please, but the harmony between male and female, active and passive, that harmony has returned. And in Wands, the fire of creativity is stoked by this occurrence. Now, Venus, combining with Aries, the principle of new beginnings, I think it means that your heart will push forward and seek the development of the beautiful in new directions. But before the new can arise, the old has got to be tied off And any conflicts between opposites must be resolved in a way which will further you on the way towards your highest goals. Now, tension in relationships just by themselves are not necessarily bad, because they can work positively when the individuality of each of the partners is recognized and respected, and this makes it possible for you to support one another in moving forward. Now, it might also be the case that there is, I think, maybe one part of you that wants to move in one direction, and yet there is another part of you which wants to stay where you are, and yet another one again that wants to go in a deep and different direction. This might also be a time when something needs to be completed despite the desire to move on to new things, finish the thing first. Now, this could relate to something to do with work or relationships or a new dynamic within an existing relationship. But the point is this, that something beautiful is making its way into your relationships now. Now, you may notice at first as the ordinary way of doing things are called into question. See, sorting out the old is always necessary for a new oneness, a new beginning. But ask yourself this, are you prepared to accept your partner as she or he is, in spite of your differences? Are there any areas that are in urgent need of sorting out? And if there is any tension between you and somebody else, now is definitely a good time to resolve that and complete the old. Because you should be saying this to yourself now, that completing the old frees me for the new. Now, let me see, where are we? Getting a feeling of love around again. This looks... where are we? This is the moon in Cancer. Now, the moon in Cancer is auspicious because the moon is the ruler of Cancer, and Jupiter, of course, the great benefic, that is exalted in Cancer. So things to do with home life, relationships, and doing things with people in general should go well, I think. There is an emotional richness here which is going to fulfill you. And this may well express itself in your environment at home from Cancer through beauty and luxury. There's a wealth of feeling at hand whose roots, thanks to the moon, go deep, deep into the subconscious. Now, this is a responsibility as well as a gift. And you who understands love know that love is a responsibility as well as a gift. You see, love is the only thing to ever hold on to, I think this is saying to you for this month. Even when it was never returned to you, even if it was used as a tool to hurt you. Because the sad fact is that not everyone knows how to love or to treat people tenderly. That's why when you speak with love and live through love, you will carry with you an extra special task to fulfill on this earth, and it is simply to keep holding on to love. And there's a great degree of tenderness here as well. Keep holding on to love and tenderness. What's this information coming through? It's abstract. Maybe I can make a comment about a beautiful woman who grows up in a small town. Now, I think, in general, truthfully, that it's difficult growing up as a woman. This small town girl, we'll call her, when she was a girl, she lived in a small town for the most part, and nobody cared to know anything other than what they already knew. And she was something that they didn't know. And I think really it's harder for a girl like that than for the average girl. What I mean by that is that girls hate you when you're adorable, don't they? And every girl in a small town, every girl in that small town wants to be the only one worth loving. And yet, this small town girl of ours, she's always just had this champagne bottle personality, unafraid to be soft, tender. But sometimes girls can take that from you. And maybe with her, they really did. Maybe with our small town girl, they hurt her until she had to toughen up. But I think that as she has grown to an adult woman, and is beautiful, of course, I think she thinks that the best thing about being a woman is that by now she's learned how becoming even more like herself is more powerful than any tough exterior that she could ever put on. And she knows that those other girls from back then, that they'll hate that it will really kill them. Nevertheless, this is a time, I think, when you are being given much love and devotion, so enjoy it without becoming dependent on it. Look, are there any relationships in which you feel restricted or in which you don't feel that you are honored? Because if that is the case, then you can seek temporary pleasures as a way of escaping from feelings of discontent, including but not limited to shopping, overeating, substance abuse. And if you do not feel honored in the relationship, pack your bags and go out. Now, I think that takes us finally, doesn't it, to what is the card that's left? Did we do 4? This must be it. 5. Oh, I don't like the way he's looking here. He doesn't seem to be really as if he's enjoying this woman's company fully. I get a lot of Aquarius and Pisces around this, funnily enough, you know. Now, of course, these cards, the court cards, can be of either gender. But I'm looking at here and what I see is this is probably somebody that's in your life. And it's somebody, or that you know, this person has commitment issues. They're amiable, happy, good company, but they're sort of passive and very attracted to excitement and have an unsustainable enthusiasm to projects or people that just don't make any rational sense whatsoever. They're it's a type of person who can be quite sensitive, I think, but deep down, they're shallow. And to bring the astrological planets into it, I would say that they have the qualities of a Venus or a weak Jupiter, someone who, on the whole, is so superficial that it's hard to reach their depth, and their name is written in water. It may well be that they've mismanaged their life to date. And without any luck, perhaps their work life or their relationship history may be a record, an unbroken record of failure. Now, the king, esoterically, I'm looking at this, is fire, and water is cups. So fire and water don't really mix, do they? So I would suggest that this could well be someone with what I would call mental civil wars going on in their head, which could well break out into, well, I don't like to say it, but in very unruly behavior and a behavior that is not conducive to friendships or relationships. And again, the lesbian and gay audience, please make the necessary adjustment. But you see here that they are nevertheless extremely attractive to the opposite sex. And they love the opposite sex. They love sex, but not necessarily commitment, you see. You see, commitment is one thing. It's a promise. It's a, well, I agree in principle, but it's not an action. It's not a contract, if you like. And it's not necessarily a commitment even to love. Because to love is to accept a soul entirely, not wishing for that person to be other than what they are, or hoping for change, or clinging on to some strange ideal past. You see, to love is to cherish the individual that is standing before you presently, their charms, their quirks, and everything. To love is to give someone a piece of your heart that you will never get back. Now, for emotionally intelligent couples, love is also, I suppose, like a box. And inside that box, there's both security and adventure. And commitment offers one of the great luxuries of our life here on Earth. And that luxury is time. Now, marriage, although a committed relationship doesn't necessarily have to be marriage, but marriage isn't the end of romance, it's the beginning. Emotionally mature people know that they have years in which to deepen their connection, to experiment, to go backwards, even to fail. They see their relationship as something which is alive and ongoing, not something which is a concrete block. It's a story they are writing together. And a story is one with many chapters, and really neither of the partners knows how it's going to end. That's the beauty of it. There's always a place they haven't gone yet. Always something about the other person still to be discovered. Well, what a fantastic spread of cards for you. Made so much better for you being
Well, I
here.
told you that was very interesting art, didn't I? And didn't you find it fascinating? I love that period in history. It's one of my favourite sections of history, I think. All around the world, or at least in Europe and the Middle East. And now, of course, unless I see you privately for a clairvoyant reading or for a healing, then I'll see you here again next month. And until then, though, remember one thing, and it is this, that you are a legend. And I look forward to seeing you again next month. And until then, it's bye for now.